It's What to Do Wednesday. Your favorite podcast is back. My name's Garrett Gray.
Kandi Thompson.
Today is a big one because
a big day.
What just happened yesterday.
Yes, super exciting. Going into last night's election, I think nobody really knew what was going to happen. So that you guys are aware, this is not a political podcast, but we are humans, and
Right.
So I'm actually a registered independent. I'm not even. I literally vote based off. I love Jesus, right? I love the military. I love our police. I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
Schools, education, all the stuff those are things that are important to me. And so when I'm voting, I do not care what political lines you are on. I just look at what is going to affect me and my family the most, right?
And I definitely agree with that. I honestly think, I don't even know what I'm registered as. I just go vote because I know that, like, when I was 18, everybody was telling you have to go vote. This is something that was given to you. Go use it.
Right.
But I would say probably Republican. I think I may have put independent as well because back when I was putting stuff together, I didn't know.
Right.
I was 18, right? And I was also in the military, so it's kind of like whatever they tell you is just, this is what you should do. This is who's going to help us. So, but now growing into it, I think we have like kind of the same kind of values of, what's really going to help, not just me, but my kids now. And I've looked at a lot of different life having kids now that's like, how can I best help them succeed for, in the next 18 years when they got to do this stuff?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yes. So no, super crazy. Did you stay up all night?
I did. I accidentally did because the anticipation was killing me. So I first started watching it with my wife, where we were eating dinner, and then my buddies called me, and then they were streaming it. So they're kind of like having like their own little conversation about it.
Yes.
So I got on my computer with them, and we started watching it, and then it ended up being like 11:30 at night, and I was waiting, and I was like, now I got to watch a speech.
Right.
Now I got to watch a speech.
No, you got to see the speech. Yes. No, exactly.
So accidentally did that, and that was about it. Yeah.
I am. We did watch it. It was, I feel like 2016 was interesting, right? We got to see the results that night. That was exciting.
Right.
2020, I kind of expected the same thing. And then you go to bed and you wake up and
6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So I think we had a little bit of PTSD from 2020 to go to sleep.
And that's so funny because I called my dad right after, right? Like I was watching the Trump rally in Palm Beach, Florida. I was watching that one. So it was kind of like they were bouncing around from like ABC, Fox, and they had all of them on there. And so as soon as I heard them say it over like the whatever they were streaming off of, I called my dad and I was like, "Hey, you watching the news?" Because he had just got off work. He's like, "Yeah, but hold on, because of last year." And that makes sense.
Right.
Dude, I went to bed right after they did something like this, and they found like a truckload of miscounted ballots or something. So he was all worried, and then this morning he texted me. He's like, "Okay, my stress is down a little bit. My blood pressure's down. I actually slept last night, right? Because I was all happy. He like tanked my like happiness, and I was like, well, it is what it is."
And I feel like, just based on the numbers, there was no way that they could. There's only one way to skin a cat. Like there was no way they were going to be able to change that result, right? There wasn't enough votes in the certain areas. When they were calling them, they're pretty safe on when they're calling them. And
and I think they learned a lot from last year as well, right? Like they put a lot of parameters in place. They are trying to do the best they can. It's a lot of stuff going through with, I would say minimally staff. Like they don't have everybody there, right? And they only have so many people they've trained to do it the right way. So you got to take it for what, kind of like with a grain of salt, they say, right? Just understand that they got to be doing the best that they can. Right?
Nope, and it was. It was super exciting. I have to be honest. I have not been enjoying the last 3.5 years of what's happening in our economy. So to vote for that same, that same regime, if you will, right? Like that didn't make sense to me. So I am excited to see what comes of it. I'm excited for change. Clearly America was ready for change, right?
Popular vote, right?
Popular vote, House, Senate.
Clear and House. It's awesome. And I still put it to this though, and this is how I believe it is, regardless of your difference of opinions, right? We just happen to correlate on the same kind of opinion about it. But everybody out there, right? If you're talking about it, it's okay to talk about it, but just keep your personal feelings out of it and just have a conversation. You know, it doesn't, like, if we're friends and you have a different political view, that's fine. We can have differences, but don't get angry just because, you know, the conversation is different.
Yeah,
just
because
have
they
the
don't
conversation.
align. Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is just, it's hard, I guess, to know. I mean, especially if you're a competitor. I'm very competitive in anything I put myself into. And if I voted, right? Like, I feel vested, so then I get competitive, but I also have to say to myself, dude, it's just a conversation. There's no reason to get upset about it.
Yeah.
But again, it goes over like your entire livelihood of how you're supposed to live. So it's, I mean, I don't know. There's personal there too, but
that's right. Well, Jesus is my king. Yeah. So it didn't matter who won because he still reigns. Yeah. That's literally it. And that's what I've shared with so many people over the last couple of weeks who've been fearful of the results one way or another. And just knowing that like the Lord is still on the throne and he hasn't forgotten about us and he's still going to look out for us. Right. Yeah. So that's literally it. I mean, I'm always grateful when there's, you know, when we feel like there's going to be advantages to us or that I do believe that in the speech last night, Donald Trump said we have to heal the country. Yeah. And I do feel like our country does need to be healed a little bit.
I agree. Well, I do agree with that because it's just, at the end of the day, you got to look internal at some point and stop worrying about everybody around us because we can prosper, I think, very well independently by ourselves. We have a lot of smart people. We have a lot of good people that we can build what we need.
That's right.
And just work together, right? Like
that's right.
It's wild. Yeah. But
no, well, that was a big deal. And actually that's why we're coming to you on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
We would normally, until we start going live, which we're not there yet, we're recording them on Tuesday for the following Wednesday. But this one we thought was too good to pass up. We had to be here with you. We couldn't come to you on what to do Wednesday and not have election results, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of the big things that happened. I'm sure everybody watching it. I work at the school here in Amador County, and even some of the kids, I was walking around this morning, and they're talking about it. So, and what makes me happy is that there's people actually watching it, regardless whatever side they're on. They're watching it, they're getting to know it, they're understanding it, and that is so big because if you don't, that's your livelihood. If you don't start voting when you're 18, right, by the time you're 30. You're not going to see the effects of what you've been voting for because that's how long it really takes. I didn't start seeing the effects of what I voted for until I became an adult and had my own family. And then I started seeing, okay, this is how it happened. But when you're 18, it's just like, okay, cool, I'll go vote. I don't really understand it.
Yes.
There was the last little thing, and then we'll move on. There was, when I was 18, I was graduating high school, and there was a family that we went out to dinner, we were talking, and this gentleman, one of the dads, talking to me, he's like, listen, man, are you voting this year? And this was back in 2012, I think it was, right? Yeah, it was 2012. So, I think that's right, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, something like that. I think it was 12. I graduated 12. It should be around 12. Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to vote. Like, I know where you go and how do you do the processes. We've had stuff on it. He's like, well, listen, man, if you don't start understanding how to vote now, you're not going to see the outcome of it to when you're an adult because that's how long it takes to understand. I was like, well, that makes sense now. So then I started understanding when I go vote and reading these things, what the effect and where I'm going to look for the return is 5, 6, 10 years down the road.
Right.
That's just crazy to me.
No, it is. And it's very important. I mean, Adam and I have identical twins, as you know, but maybe they don't know, that are in college, senior year in college. So this TCU. So they were voting, and it's fun for us because I feel like this is going to be their first vote that they actually see the results from, because the last time they're 21. So the last time, they were 17 when they voted, right? 18, 19, 20, 21. Yep.
So yeah, they were just out of town.
Yeah. And the last time that, and so that was with Biden. And then previous to that, the last time that Trump won, they were 13. Wow. So this will be their first vote that they've actually been able to make in a presidential election. Crazy. That's exciting. And what comes from that, like to be able to see how that works or doesn't work, right?
It's a good experience regardless if you do it or don't. I think you should. If you have the power and you're able to do it, this is why they make the laws, right? Go do it.
Yes.
It's a super good feeling too. Especially when you're watching and you have some investment into it.
Yes, no, I love it. Well, that's exciting. We'll see how that plays out. So with What to Do Wednesday being so new, right? And this is our first official episode. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to share a little bit about ourselves with you. just and we'll just do a little bit of that probably each episode, just so you get to know us a little bit more. So I am one of five children. I'm the youngest of five children, four girls and one boy, raised by a single mom. And I'm not making a pun. I'm not like, I was raised in a middle class family. I'm not making fun of anything. Like, this legit is actually how I was raised. Born and raised in this county, and so that was super fun being a part of a small county growing up. I married my high school sweetheart, Adam, and so been together since we were 17. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah,
That is
crazy.
always so funny. It's like we have so much similarity. Well, listening to your story,
Yes.
I've not heard it before, but we just have a
Yeah.
lot of similarities. It's just super weird to listen to again.
That's why we connected.
I think
Garrett.
so. I think
Yes.
so. We're like
Yes.
twins in a way, just in different
That's
brackets, which I
right.
won't say the like age group, but never mind. Anyways, so
When you were graduating, I was like, holy crap, like I'm a dinosaur. That is hilarious. Well, I mean, as everybody knows, we love Jesus, and we love our community. We're super involved. I'm a real estate broker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Divine Properties. We have property management side, the sales side. We love, we're super involved in basketball, and so just love our community, love the people, love our real estate team. And we love my mom, live locally still, and have our kids that go to Texas Christian University in their senior year.
Super
They're going to
cool.
graduate
Exciting.
in May. Yeah, so that's crazy. That's a whole nother ball game. And having identical twins has been fun. So I think that'll be fun as we journey through this to talk about funny things that happen with that. So
for sure, we're gonna have to, because they're quite funny.
They are so funny. And they were so for Halloween, they were multiple things, but one of the nights, they were the twins from The Shining.
That's funny.
Yes, it was, and I'll have to, and when we're doing this, I'll have to put a picture up. Yeah. But they were so cute, and they wanted to do it since they were in college. And I was literally like, this is it. Like, because they may be going their separate ways. One of them's going into law school. One of them's going to be going into the workforce. And so who knows where they're going to end up. But like, you're probably not going to be together on Halloween, right? Again, so this is your chance. Yeah.
For sure. Sure. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Amador County, at the old Jackson Hospital. I still remember it. It's kind of weird because my sister was born there too. I remember playing with cars in there. Right now, it's the courthouse, right?
It is the courthouse. Yeah.
I was born there, and then I went to high school at Argonaut High School. Married my sweetheart, but it wasn't until a year after I graduated. I went into the Marine Corps. I did the Marine Corps for 10 years until getting out this last October, 2 years ago of October 2022, and then got into real estate, and then that's when we met.
Right.
Loved it. I was a recruiter before I got out down in San Luis Obispo. Before that, I was a motor transportation operator, so I drove trucks. I feel like I did all the parts of the military. So if you guys ever have any questions about military stuff too, I'm super open to talk about it.
Well, and also on the real estate side.
The VA loan. I know how to understand the VA loan, how to get your guys' the certificate of eligibility for the VA loan. The lenders that we can talk to, the ones that I trust that can actually know the process. There's some I feel like they know and they've never done it before, and they have to get somebody, and then it's a murky mess. But definitely, it's a huge asset. I know what benefits. I know how to help you get your guys' ratings done for your disability. I had to do it all myself. I had a little bit of help from my legal team when I was getting out, and it's hard. So I know how to do a lot of that stuff. So if you guys ever have any questions about that, especially on here too, I can answer some of those.
Yeah, what to do Wednesdays at gmail.com. Whatever questions that you have, if we don't know it, we'll find it.
Oh, absolutely.
We said we'd make it up, but we won't make it up. But we may know the answers also. So what to do Wednesdays at gmail.com.
With an S. What to do Wednesdays.
With an S.
And then I moved back here back in 2021, right before I got out, and then that's when I wanted to do real estate, because if not the biggest thing you ever buy in your life, why not know more about it before you do it?
Right.
Also, my family owns a little bit of property out here, so it was kind of like going into the family business. It felt like
right.
Yes. But yeah, no, other than that, it's been great. Got two kids, two boys, young, under the age of 7. They are a handful and crazy. They're gonna spend every little money I have saved because they break things as fast as I can buy it for them. So it's pretty cool.
Yes.
So we did Halloween and they dressed up as, what was it? Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
I love Toothless.
Super cool. The costume was awesome. And then our little one, he had 2 different costumes. He was Mario because he loves Mario and he says it like a hard R. He's like Mario. And then we did a little thing up at the courthouse up by the school, and he was Jack Jack from The Incredibles.
Oh, okay.
Spike hair and everything.
Got it.
So that's what we did, and then it was a fun time.
It was fun. We handed out candy. We so I have little nieces, and they went trick or treating, and so Adam and my mom and I stayed behind at so it's my niece and my nieces, right? So my great nieces. So stayed at my niece's house and handed out candy in the probably one of the biggest neighborhoods that you can trick or treat at in Amador County, right? And so that was fun. It's been a long time. I actually don't remember the last time we were able to hand out candy like that. We used to live in that neighborhood, but our kids were little, so we'd be out trick or treating. So
you just let the bolt in the front with their light.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So it was super fun. It was fun to see the different outfits, and so it all went.
Wasn't it last Halloween? It wasn't quite really the Halloween, right? Wasn't that like the tail end of the COVID era? Or did we had a decent Halloween, but it wasn't that great. It was kind of like the starting back into. Yeah. I thought last year was really, really. This year was really, really nice. I thought a lot of kids were out.
Yeah.
So
it was. Yeah, and so super, super funny outfits. I thought that was really good. But we did have a couple of questions from viewers. Okay. So thank you so much for all of you that are emailing us questions for What to Do Wednesdays. This is a fun experience for us. Yeah. So what was your question that you got?
So my question I got was, where does Kandi get her mascara from? And now listen. We will probably ask 99% of the questions you guys send us, and that is absolutely okay. We might have to slough some, but
you're correct.
It's good. So I had to ask it. So
you're hilarious. Okay. Okay, so my mascara comes from Ulta. Oh wait, actually I think it is. Yeah, Ulta, and it is the Better Than Sex mascara. It is. I have girls in college. I learn all the good stuff, that's right? Good. Yeah, like, what kind of mascara is that? She's like, oh, it's Better Than Sex. Oh, well, we better have it.
You're like, no, I just need the name. I don't need to know what it is. I just want to know the name of it.
I just need to know the item. Yeah. Yeah, so no, it was, so that's kind of funny. But we do also, I think that we were going to talk about the NAR settlement. Yes. So that is so the National Association of Realtors had a settlement. Well, it's officially not even settled yet, to be honest.
I mean, the third time. Well, it's like loosely settled, but they still haven't really figured out how they're reacting to it. I felt like it's a reaction, but it was like a knee-jerk reaction. They put something out there to make the DOJ happy, right? And then now they're trying to finesse it now. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, and we went through the paperwork, is it's still the same paperwork with a little bit of different in wording, but we've used the same stuff and we've had the same stuff that you could have used the entire time you've been a realtor for. Right. I mean, I've only had my real estate license for a little over a year. You've been doing it for 10 plus years. Yeah. And from what you're telling us and what I've read when I first started before the paperwork changes, we've had this paperwork from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest questions that we're getting are with regard to what information is being shared out there on the media. And if we haven't learned what happens on the media and that this may or may not be true, this National Association of Realtors lawsuit happened because somebody did not want to pay the buyer's agent. So a buyer comes to the table, a seller is selling their house, they're represented by an agent. A buyer's coming to the table, they bring an agent. They don't have to. The seller could represent both of them, but the common practice is that a buyer has their own agent. It's actually recommended. Right? Yeah, it's recommended. Then each one of them has the best interest of their client in mind, right? Correct. Sellers have to sell their homes and they need buyers. And so historically, sellers pay the real estate agents and the buyers pay the lender. That's what we've always said. Buyers do pay a pretty significant portion of what they are of their closing costs to the lender.
Right.
And so the seller pays the agents. Well, in this lawsuit, they didn't want to pay the buyer's agent. They thought, why do I have to pay the buyer's agent? This is ridiculous. So this is where it all derived. It became a lawsuit. It is kind of, there's so many holes in it, and and the trial was so crazy. And so there's a lot of holes in it. However, at the end of the day, the media has shared out there that sellers do not have to pay their buyer's agent anymore. Right. And so, but to be honest, the negotiation was always there. They could always negotiate the agency payment. You know, right. They could. So,
well, everything in real estate, down to almost a penny, is negotiable. Right. Like you can negotiate who you're using. You can negotiate what kind of title company you're using. You can negotiate if I buy this house for the first day of every month, this buyer has to take me to dinner. I mean, seriously,
it's in the contract. Right?
Anything can be put into this contract. Yeah. It's a big kind of blanket statement that you can be putting in there. So, but going on to what you're saying, it can be negotiated, and it always has been able to be negotiated. Anything in real estate can be negotiated. Right. Like, I think I was about to put an offer in, and we were going to ask for, you know, the buyer wants to buy this house, you know, we're going to do this, and we would like one of your new puppies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. You can't actually write that in the contract. Well, you can negotiate whatever you want.
I'm going to ask for the new puppy. Beautiful laps.
Can you get one for me?
Oh, try. They had 11.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so it is. But what's happening is, in questions that we're getting are from generally the seller standpoint.
Yeah.
Do I have to pay for the buyer's agent? And my response is always, first and foremost, they need that buyer, right?
Right.
And so the buyers, if you don't pay the buyer's agent, then who pays the buyer's agent? Because realtors don't work for free. And the work that happens on the buyer's agent side is huge. I mean, the amount, I think Realtor.com posted a whole thing. It's like 101 things that the buyer's agent does. And so who pays the buyer's commission if you don't? The buyer does. Yeah. So now you've got the buyer coming to the table potentially with a loan that they don't even have to pay a down payment. They have to pay the lender, and they have to pay their realtor, and they have to pay their down payment if they have a down payment. So now
it's like let's say the closing costs that are also in that too. There's a lot of fine money. So really, it sounds like to me the buyer's the only one bringing everything to the table. That's right. Then all the seller is doing is sitting there and just collecting a paycheck,
paying their agent.
Does that? Yeah. But does that feel fair though?
Yeah, it is. You know, I feel like historically, sellers have never really had a problem with it because they know the cost of doing business, right? So they know that it's potentially 5, possibly 6% for them to sell their house, and that's worth it for them. Right. And the agent will generally can figure that in, right? They'll figure out that amount within that, and if they need to raise the price a little bit, whatever they need to do to be able to make sure that the seller's still getting what they want.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like that's how it works. And so yes, so what's happening right now is sellers that are refusing to pay the buyer's agent. That buyer doesn't have the money to pay the agent, and they have to walk away from that sale. So I'm not sure that it's turning out the way the seller's intending.
Yeah.
That they're thinking, well, they're just going to say, fine. A buyer is not, I mean, and it's unfortunate that a buyer's agent has to be the reason why they can't move forward. But it's the same thing that in buying anybody. I mean, if you come to the table with an attorney and I'm going to sue you, Garrett, and you have an attorney and I have an attorney, but we pay our own attorneys because that's our own thing.
Right.
I don't need your attorney.
Right.
As a seller, you need the buyer. You can't sell a house without the other party, right? Like you need that person to come to the table. So it makes sense for you to compensate the buyer's agent. Now, this agreement is actually only good for 7 years. And it hasn't even been officially finalized, to be honest. I know that the CRMLS, which is kind of like the overarching umbrella of the multi-listing services, they have picked through what the Department of Justice has put out there and found holes in every single bit of it. So they do believe that they're going to extend again. There's another hearing coming up in November, possibly another extension from that. And so we're not sure when we're going to see this finalized, but we know today we're living it and we're walking it out. So we comply with all of the rules. We do everything the way that we're supposed to do. We're not trying to fight anything. We're educating our buyers. We're educating our sellers.
And it's for both sides.
It is.
Because it's gonna affect both of you, because at the end of the day, this is how our conversations go, whether we're doing a listing appointment or we're sitting down with a buyer to talk about representing them, because now we have a buyer broker agreement with our buyers that they're going to sign, which again has been there, just in a different format.
Yeah.
Right? Just, hey, we got to just notify you guys that we're not working for free. We're not just doing this willy-nilly to help out a friend, right? Like, we want to help you, but at the end of the day, we also need to put food on our table for our family and pay for everything that we use as in marketing material to find you or sell you that house. Right? I mean, we have our own websites we have to pay for. We have websites that blast out to across international sites, right? All the way to Japan and Italy and Costa Rica, right? That all costs money, but we're trying to also maximize our potential for you to be able to see different homes from wherever you want, right? And that's why it makes it so easy, because let's go back to when you first started. I've always been told that they got a little booklet of just the county surrounding area.
He's aging me. He's trying to age me.
I'm just saying, but the difference
it's been on the internet since I've been there, Garrett. I didn't have a little book, Garrett.
Well, talking with other older real estate agents that have been in the industry for a while, I didn't know if you were a part of that. They got a book from what they told me.
Yes.
But what I look is it from, and this I'll explain it to buyers, right, is yes, you can see anything California with us. We are California licensed. Is it easy for us to drive from Northern California all the way down to San Diego to show you a house? No. Right? It's an hour flight, $150 if we want to do it. But how are we making that money back is we're making sure that you're saying, hey, you're going to sign this paper saying that you are mine, I am yours. I'm going to give you every ounce of my blood, sweat, and tears. Maybe I might cry a little bit. Right? To make sure you find the house. Because I'm going to do it better than nobody else. Right? Because that's what we were trained. Right? With Berkshire Hathaway, we have a brand. We work really hard for that brand. And we have to pay for that brand as well.
Yeah. Right? And we are trained as forever agents. I mean, Warren Buffett owns Berkshire Hathaway.
Yes.
He calls it the forever agency. It's not going anywhere. We know that anything Warren Buffett does turns to gold, right? Turns to gold. So this agency is no different. And so we are trained as forever agents, which sets us apart from other agents. So we do take that seriously. And it's just a matter of being transparent. That's really what it is. It's just being transparent that the buyer, you could potentially owe me this amount of money. And if you don't have the money for that, then we'll make sure that the seller can pay that commission. That's really what that looks like.
And that's it. And and we can only talk a lot for our brokerage, and what we do is we make sure we be as transparent as possible. All right. On our own personal websites, we have that out there showing what, as a selling agent, she's more of a selling agent than I am. I'm more of a buying representation agent. I can look up her website and her listings and see exactly what they're offering as commission standards. So I don't have to be in the dark. And then when I'm going for my houses, I can ask my buyer do you have the funds for it? If you do not, this is the houses that I would recommend that we need to look at, because if you can't afford me, right, they're going to be able to help you. And again, we're a team, right? As agents, and I think a lot of us lose that side of it. We're a big team. We're trying to make sure we're helping. It's not about me and you trying to get the best bang for our buck.
That's right.
We're trying to make sure that our clients get, on my side as a buyer, the best deal. And you're also trying for your clients to make sure they sell their house with enough money that they're able to move on and do what they need to do with it. Because some of these houses still have loans on them that they're going to have to pay off. They're not getting their money. And so all this is really just trying to do is give us more transparency. We have to explain it to you. The paper is there. You can read it. It's exactly what I'm going to say to you as well. I've read them. It's my job to know them. And just ask questions. And this is why we've opened up is What to Do Wednesdays.
That's right.
You email us. You can DM us on our Instagrams. You can DM us on Facebook pages, whatever you would like, or just text us if you know us personally, and we'll put these questions to use to help the community be able to navigate these waters, because everybody wants to own a home. I haven't heard anybody that buys a home saying this was the dumbest decision I've ever made.
No, and it's so exciting, and it's such a fun thing that we get to be able to do, to be able to help you. And I want to tell you that I speak for all agents in Amador County. We have amazing realtors in Amador County, and every one of them deserve to be paid.
I agree.
I will not list a house personally that the seller is not paying for the buyer's agent. I just feel they're too valuable, and it's not fair to them to have to come to the table and not earn the money that they deserve. So from my standpoint, in our brokerage, we'll make sure that our sellers pay the agents. Now, the other question that we received was from an agent standpoint on what can be said about the percentages, right? That's a real common misconception right now because this is so new.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the only place that you cannot list the percentage that the seller is offering the buyer's agent is on the MLS, on the multiple listing service. You can put it on your website. You can put it on your flyer. You can have a conversation about it. You could have a sign in the front yard that says you're giving 2.5% or 3% or 1% or whatever you're giving. Yeah, you have the ability to share that. The only place that you cannot have it, which previously it used to be listed on the MLS, and now it's not. So you can't go to the MLS, look up a house for your buyer, and then say, okay, here's how much I'm going to be compensated.
And I think that question comes up a lot is because they came out with the settlement and they were so like hard stomping, like if you do this, you will be reprimanded.
Right.
And it was kind of scary. So you're like, oh my gosh, so where can I do this? Right.
Right.
Because they thought it was a part of commingling, right? Is that the word? Or
no, it's truth in lending, I believe.
Okay.
Just making sure. Let's see. It's the what is it called? Let me remember. It is the not truth in lending. It's the
at the end of the, what it was is they thought we were trying to negotiate between agents without negotiating between agents. Like, hey, this is where I'm going to give you.
Yeah,
like
they're just
trying to
no
be sneaky, right? And I think that just goes back to as a real estate agent that asked the question. Make sure you read the paperwork and understand what you're supposed to do. Right.
That's right.
It's so simple to read it. It's a lot of words. It is scary at first. There's a lot of black and white. There's no really colors. I like picture books. I'm a Marine, right? But you just have to sit down and read, and it tells you exactly how to fill it out and what it means. And if you don't know, there's this great app out there. I like to use it. I don't go to Google anymore. I use Perplexity. It's a simple app that I type in the question. It's all AI driven. It gives you sources. No, it's not like ChatGPT where it just writes you out a list, right? You type it in there, it gives you your sources so you can even look up the sources. That's and it tells you how you're supposed to, how you can work it, right?
That's right.
So again, if you don't know, you can come to What to Do Wednesdays and you can ask. You can use AI.
That's right.
Or just read the paper, right? Yeah. Just read it line by line, go through. And if you want to be a successful agent, you need to know these words.
That's right.
Because if you don't, you're gonna hurt somebody, and it's gonna be very bad. And then it just doesn't hurt you; it hurts the entire industry.
That's right. And real estate is so much fun.
I agree.
We love it so much. It's
this
super
close to
awesome.
Full time. I feel it.
It's so much fun. I mean, even in down economies, like it's still so much fun because people are still buying and people are still selling. So it is very exciting. Anybody wanting to join real estate, ask us a question on What to Do Wednesdays, how to get started, what to do. Like we'd love to walk you through that. And it's been a really fun ride for us, and we're excited to continue. We don't know what the market's going to look like, but here's what we do know, that next week we're going to actually talk to you about what to expect in 2025 if you're looking to buy or sell a home. So what our predictions are, we're going to look some stuff up and see. I mean, keep in mind there's no crystal ball. And also just a disclaimer, like we're not giving legal advice. No. We are just sharing ultimately what we understand this whole process to be, what we follow in our own lives. Yeah. And so if you have any legal questions, you're going to want to contact a real estate attorney. We don't want you to take our word as legal advice, but we do want you to make sure that you're educating yourself on it, because
we're more of like pointing in a direction type of people. Okay?
That's right.
Like we're just going to say, hey, this is what you should do. This is how it works. Yeah. This is just coming from someone that's just a real estate agent. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a CPA.
That's right.
I'm not a photographer.
Tax preparer.
I help sell homes at the best information that I got. And the best information I have is from our trainings and from my phone and my own personal looking up, right? That's all I can do for you. But I will try to find the best answer possible. Yeah. But there's only some I can only answer. So I can point you in the direction and say, hey, this is where you can probably get the best answer. This is what you should do to get the accurate answer.
That's right. So we are very excited to be coming. Now, you guys know how this works, right? You're going to look back in years ahead and then look at our first one and go, oh my gosh, how they have grown. But we just feel like we're doing just great. Yeah. And here's the deal. We're stepping outside of the norm and getting out of our comfort zone and doing something that we wanted to do for a long time. And so it will be fun. So we're very, very excited for you to
join us for this
hang
journey.
out with us. Yeah. Be on this journey with us. And maybe you'll learn a little bit along the way, or maybe you'll teach us something along the way. When you ask questions, it doesn't mean we have to know it. We'll look it up and try to find the answers for you. So we're hoping to learn as much as you are. So anyway, we are next week. You are tune in for What to Do Wednesday, where we're gonna ultimately we'll be talking about what to expect in 2025 with regard to buying or selling homes, and then a little bit of everything else. So anything else?
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next week. We just want to give you a What to Do Wednesday disclaimer. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official stance of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services or Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Divine Properties or any affiliated entities. This podcast does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice, and listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals regarding their specific needs. While we strive to provide accurate information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness or reliability of any information discussed. We are not responsible for any actions taken by listeners based on the content in this podcast. Additionally, topics covered in the podcast are based on the host's experience and opinions and may not apply to all situations. Listeners are reminded that real estate laws and regulations may vary by location, and information may become outdated over time. By listening to this podcast, you agree to release the host, guests, and any associated entities from any liability related to the topics discussed.